I'm Harley MAGSINO. Some call me H right now. Medyo Gen Z na tayo right now. So that's, I think, most of us would relate to one-letter names at this point in time. But hi, I'm here to present ARCON to you guys, but more on not specifically the whole platform, the whole solution of it, but more on the security configuration management. It's all about digital systems. Okay, we have adapted to this one. The businesses right now are working on digital systems. We have systems traditionally. We have physical ones. And like what I said, I've been with like retail companies before. We've been building physical stores and malls. We have generating revenues out of that. But the reason right now is why are people going into this bandwagon, I would say, in terms of digital systems? Why? Because number one, they have already seen revenue in this platform. Okay. Businesses right now are shifting their budget to the digital transformation, as we call it. Everybody sees the revenue in it. Everybody sees the business opportunities in it. So, merong mga budgets on retail or other stores. Some we heard it on the news. They cut down on physical footprint, but at the same time, they're shifting it to their digital infrastructure or digital footprint right now because they are getting business out of it. And when we talk about this business, when we talk about digital systems, we talk about the pillars of these systems. Okay, we talk about confidentiality, we talk about integrity, and of course, availability. When we talk about confidentiality on digital systems, we talk about how, or it's being measured on how we protect information access to it. Okay, we have to ensure that we know who access our data, our resources. When we talk about integrity, we talk about how it is being managed, how are we measuring alteration or changes to our files, to our data. And that is to protect the integrity of our digital systems. Lastly, of course, is availability. Kahit pa gaano kaganda yung investment natin, even if we spend millions of dollars in our digital systems, if these systems are not available to our users, then it's useless. That's why we have to ensure that availability is out there in the forefront or in our values in terms of building digital systems. Okay. Now, I want to go back to my first slide. Reason behind this, when we talk about digital systems, of course, it has its own anatomy. Systems are composed of assets. Okay. Now, when we talk about assets that actually form the totality, the holistic view of the systems, we talk about different components. I mean, before we go into the data application, of course, it has this core. The core wherein we talk about the OS, the BIOS firmware, the hardware itself, network, etc., and so on. Relating to it, to a physical business, okay? I want to go back to my experience on a retail company. Before then, we were like, years back, we were building stores. We were trying to build, of course, you have your POS, you have your processes, you have your people out there. But at the same time, when we talk about security there, CCTV ang pinag-usapan. We build out the network for CCTV. We started from analog and then go to the digital. Reason behind is we need to protect, of course, the sales, the threats, the risk within those stores. And companies are investing and building this because they want to protect their business and their revenue. Okay? One of which, syempre, mga theft. Okay? Nakawan sa stores. And the way for you to protect it or somehow be knowledgeable about it is to have that visibility in your face. Without visibility, you cannot protect yourself. Okay? That's also the reason why there's a lot of investments that's going out in the waste, put to waste, because we just strike anywhere. Okay? We don't know where we're going. We don't know how to protect ourselves. It's because we lack assessment. We lack assessment on what to do next. Where are we right now? What do I want or where will I spend my money on? We just go on and buy the next available product out there in the market without any direction. Okay. Having said that, it's something that we should be working on in terms of managing our assets, our digital assets, to protect the expansion of our attack surface. For every asset that you acquire, for every asset that you bring into your infrastructure, to your system, to your inventory, is actually a threat or a risk itself. Okay. If we don't configure it properly, if we don't manage it properly, and if we won't be aware and it's visible for us on how it can be a risk to our organization. Okay. Now, Why am I talking about this? These are the practices that attackers can exploit. Okay, it's good that we have this kind of sessions. It's good that we have this gathering in terms of how we can properly strategize. Because for what we know, there are gatherings out there also from the attackers, something like this, to strategize on how they can attack us. Number one is reactive defense. We've been hearing this morning all throughout from the previous speakers, and this is true. Do not touch if it's working. Most of us are guilty of this. Why maybe right now, not right now, but in our past lives, in our practices, when we were rookies in this industry, we have been reactive to defense. We don't want to touch something that is working. Why? Because that's added work. If something goes wrong, it will fall under you. You don't want to work on weekends. You don't want to work on holidays. So your reaction is to not touch it because it's working. Number two, non-compliance. When we talk about non-compliance, it's not only about being compliant on something, not the templates and so on, but it's more on if we think at compliance as something as regulations only, and we don't understand why is it there. That is the problem. Okay? When we talk about that, okay, I just need to comply on something because this is being asked. And everybody is asking for this for me to comply so I could get certain certifications or something. But the idea there is for us to really understand why is this being asked. It's not a compliance just for whatever giving body out there is asking you to do, but it's something that can help you in terms of being better with what you do. Third one, traditional incident response. Okay. Most of us here are advanced right now. We have invested in NOCs, SOCs. But there's still a market wherein starting to boom, or I would say starting to adapt to the transformation, and they're still doing traditional ways of incident and response. The thing there is, it's good if you're starting, but if you don't try to adapt and use the available technology to your advantage, it's going to be a hard toll on you. Okay, we've heard about numbers of attacks. We've heard about number of breaches that have been resolved for months or even years at this point. We have the technologies available right now. We have used AI. We've heard about machine learning at this point that we can leverage to our advantage in terms of making this traditional incident response, or for us to create reports and generate remediations along the way. Last is this. When doing business, yes, it's good to save. But at the same time, saving by not spending is also critical. Okay? Most of us would I remember back then, people would call the IT department of a company as a cost center. Yes, we are. Malaki ang gastos pagdating sa IT. But when we talk about digital systems right now, if we are venturing into this new realm, we have to be aware that there are more expenses, there are more fines, there are more penalties that could actually hurt us along the way if we don't spend wisely, if we don't invest into cybersecurity. Okay? Why am I talking about these practices that attackers can exploit? Okay? Having said that, I heard about Fortinet talking about earlier people, process, and technology. And I don't have to elaborate on that matter. But this platform actually brings these three elements together. Okay? It helps you maintain, of course, your CIA. It gives you continuous defense, and at the same time, continuous assessment, risk assessment on your digital systems. Bringing these practices that attackers can exploit, you could change that and convert that to business outcomes. Okay? Before, we've talking about reactive. Right now, it's about being proactive. Okay? We can use automation. We can plug in into your workflow already for you to be able to have that proactiveness within your systems, to your processes. Non-compliance-wise, we have, of course, what do we call this? No, AI-based. Actually, this is the second one. I want to go first with the compliance. It's all about baselining and industry compliance. Okay, We have the likes of PCI DSS. We have the templates for those ISO 12007 and so on and so forth. It's in there. Okay, and of course we also have like CIS benchmarks that you could use as templates for your digital systems to comply. Okay, it's already in the systems. Third one that we can address, of course, traditional incident response is we can talk about AI. Okay, we have AI in our system. We use machine learning in our systems and this SEM right now to provide automation in terms of hardening your system. We've been talking about the core in terms of digital assets earlier. How do we harden your OS? How do you harden your BIOS, firmware, hardware network, and so on and so forth? We can talk about it later on. But at the same time, we are now in the era wherein we're not just fighting humans. We are fighting bots, we're fighting scripts, we're fighting elements in the realm of digital wherein it's not bounded by sleep, it's not bounded by hunger. They're not humans anymore. Meaning us who are trying to protect it, if we're trying to protect it with our own physical strength, or we will get drained. We can leverage this technology that's active right now or available right now in our advantage to help you produce remediation on this matter. And last one, savings beyond money. Okay. I said earlier, ID has been tagged as a cost center in most organizations. But at this point, if we avoid investing, I wouldn't say spend, if we avoid investing in cybersecurity, it's something that would take a toll on us or the organization itself. And those stuff is more on the image of the organization that we are protecting. And those damages are not covered by any insurances out there or any other, things that we can cope up. It's because it's the trust of our customers that are being broken to trust our business or to do business with us. Okay. So with those, we have this SCM, as we call it, Security Compliance Management within ARCON, okay, right now. It's agentless, low code. It's a platform that doesn't use any agent that you need to install on target devices. We just use scripts that we blast onto the target devices for you to get the information. We can schedule continuous assessment and continuous assessment and continuous defense on your target devices or target systems. Of course, we have report comparisons. You could build out trend analysis. You can have reports that periodically that you could submit or review. And of course, with the use of AI, we can automate responses on these reports as well. It falls under one informative dashboard. It's a single dashboard where you can see everything in one plane. For those organizations or group of companies, we can also use user segregation. So when we talk about user segregation, we identify who's accessing what reports, who's accessing or doing remediations or certain tasks or roles within this SEM platform. Policy management is aligned with the templates that we have earlier, like the PCI DSS, the ISO, the HIPAA, and so on and so forth. And with all of this, and as we go on with your target systems or target devices, we can provide you with useful information or inventory. Okay, this can be used on your audit reporting. And lastly, we also do remediation on gaps, automated remediation on some items that can be automated via scripts. But of course, there are some that needs manual intervention. Okay, having all those things that I discussed earlier and applying it into a production setup. Okay, we have these items on screen: the files, the configuration of the OS, and the security, and how to apply it on production, HA, and DR. Okay, now that we are practicing multi-cloud, now that we are here discussing about where is our SOC, is it a function or is it a place or whatsoever, and having this footprint within your office, within the cloud, or public or SaaS in the manner, we can talk about the SCM portion of our solution to secure confidentiality on your configurations, whether it's OS and security. We can talk about the file integrity monitoring on our files, the OS files, app files interface. And lastly, provide you with system integrity and drift management across the environment that you are using, whether it's production, HA, DR, via our drip management system. I want to leave you with this one. Okay, it's a solution that actually brings us together. People, process, and technology, as we discussed earlier this morning, how we can capitalize using our people, enhancing their skill, providing them with the right tools, and optimizing, streamlining it with the processes that we currently have. For us to maintain confidentiality, integrity, availability, and give you continuous defense and assessment. That's it for me. I'll be around the whole day and have a great day ahead. Thank you.